Welcome to the Wellness on Tap podcast with your host, Dr Debs Eastwood.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready to go?
I'm ready.
Fantastic. How does the world look from that seat? This is not your normal seat, is it?
Weird. I'm feeling very different.
Yeah, because that's the guest seat you're sitting in there.
It is.
Not the host seat anymore.
No, so if people...
I do like this host seat. It's very comfortable. Very nice view from here.
Yes, it is. I'm looking around and I'm seeing lots of different things that the guest would normally see.
Absolutely. So this is our anniversary episode, your anniversary episode.
Absolutely. It is all about the culmination of a year. It might not fall exactly into the episode anniversary slot, but this is what it's all about.
And we flipped this episode. So you are the guest. And I have a funny feeling you'll have a lot of listeners who have been dying to know more about you.
I gave them a little taster at the beginning, but the focus of the podcast has always been on the guests.
Yeah.
That was the whole purpose for me of setting this thing up in the first place.
Yeah.
It was in essence a legacy to my little brother to give holistic healing a voice.
Yeah.
Clearly it's changed over the year, but the essence is still the same.
Tell me a little bit more about that, because for a lot of people, if they come across you and they see the headlines, they'll see Dr Debs Eastwood, consultant anaesthetist, and possibly ask, well, how did you go from that, or how have you transitioned from that to being a podcast host for starters?
Okay, so the story in essence, I tie into the passing of my little brother timeline-wise, because that was the big catalyst.
Yeah.
And that was 4 years ago, 4.25 years ago, last July. He had been a survivor of prostate cancer. And as a preparation for that, he'd started doing some running.
Right.
And continued afterwards because he was so grateful for the care that he'd got. He was completely in remission, completely cancer-free. Everything was great. At the time, I was doing a bit of running as well. Nothing ever more serious than a 5K. Just get that out there.
Yeah.
But, I was quite happy to pop out a 5K. But he was living in London at the time. And I'm up north. I'm a northern lass in Sheffield. So I'd go down when I could. And he was well, and nothing seemed to change. I wouldn't he'd recovered.
Yeah.
Until he got poorly again. And that was at the beginning of COVID. And him and his wife made the decision not to tell me, because they knew, because of my work role,
right,
that I would have quite enough on my plate. And they waited until there was, there were dips and waves.
Yeah.
They waited until the south, at least, had a dip. The north, it didn't seem to dip quite so much, nonetheless. But they waited until then to tell me. And I can see their faces still to this day on that video call. As soon as we were allowed to travel, I travelled.
Yeah.
And my role started then in supporting them. Now, they'd moved out of London in those intervening years to Essex, which meant I didn't have to go under the Blackwall Tunnel, but it was still quite a slog.
It's probably more of a slog, to be honest.
Yeah, I think time-wise, but it just felt better because it was freer flowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so for about 6 months, I was down there as often as I could. I was a support to the family in so much as my brother's wife was having health issues of her own. And so I would take over entertaining my then 6-year-old niece. Luckily, we'd had a good relationship beforehand. They'd come up every Christmas. I'd gone down. And I would be on the phone to her an hour, 2 hours, every single day. Just playing with her.
Yeah.
Playing silly games with filters on the phones. I learned a lot about filters during that time. Helping her doing some artwork, karaoke, singing, anything that she wanted to do. I'd be on that phone for a couple of hours. Sometimes twice a day.
Yeah.
And rarely 3 times a day. That was exhausting.
Yeah.
And I'm still working and I'm still going through the stresses of being an anaesthetist in COVID in a district general hospital.
Yeah.
Anyway, as soon as I could get down there, I went, I examined him and I said, it's either your heart or your kidneys, I don't know which, but there's something wrong, definitely. And I said, I'm putting your heart at the top of the list, but your kidneys are not out of the picture. He got blue lighted into the hospital 5 times, twice from his GP surgery.
Right.
And the relevance of the running was that, like I said, he'd carried on and he'd gone from the 5K park runs to 10K, these novelty races around the Tower of London,
Very
moat,
nice.
and to the Olympic Stadium and things like that, to doing these, what I personally feel sound like tortuous events of these half marathon Tough Mudders.
Oh, I've done one of those. Yeah. Yeah.
So you know what it's all about then.
Wrecked my knees on that.
Yes. Yep. And some of the pictures I've got of him doing them, he was clearly enjoying it, but it was hard going.
Yeah.
So after a while, when they couldn't sort him out in the district general hospital, they finally did a couple of relevant tests. And I'm there all the time, like going, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? This needs to happen. That needs to happen. Da, 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 da. Using my clinical knowledge as best I could. But they were going to do what they were going to do.
Yeah.
I was just glad that he'd finally been admitted, even if the progress was slow. Anyway, they came back. They did a bone marrow biopsy and said, you've got multiple myeloma, which is bone marrow cancer. Right, okay. What are we going to do about that then? Well, there's a specialist centre in London. We're going to transfer him there. So they transferred him there. Bearing in mind, they were trying to treat this fluid. He'd become completely fluid overloaded, which was what had given me the keys to the heart and the kidneys.
Yeah.
But they'd not done any of the appropriate tests for that, even though he'd been in hospital for about a week or so. So they moved him over to UC, I never know whether it's UCLH or UCHL, University College Hospital, London, HL, I guess. And I just happened to be there visiting him when a lady came down, a doctor came down from the intensive care unit and was looking at me, you know, and we're thinking about we're going to do this and that. Didn't know, you know, what my job role was.
Right.
And I said to her, when she says she's from intensive care, I says, thank goodness for that. And she was like, what? Don't get that response very often. So I says, no. And I explained
Yeah.
that I'm an anaesthetist. I says, so what are you going to do then? This. And she says, yeah. I says, so at my hospital, I'd have to go and speak to the person in charge of intensive care, double check that there's a bed space, blah, blah, blah. I says, is it the same here? She goes, yeah. So I says, well, if you're happy to go and do that, I'm happy to talk to him.
Right.
I says, now I won't leave out any of the bad stuff. I'll give him the full risk-benefit profile, all the pros and cons, everything. He was taken up to intensive care that afternoon wearing a half-marathon Tough Mudder T-shirt.
Wow.
That was a first for them.
Yeah, yeah. Had he had a shower?
Yes, I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah, and they let me stay while they wired him up for sound, which often isn't the case. I'm not saying is never the case, but often isn't the case that hospitals won't allow the relatives to stay for that.
Yeah.
And finally, he got the tests and investigations in abundance.
Yeah.
Because people were now, ooh, this is unusual. I'm interested in this. Multiple myeloma. Oh, it's caused yada, yada, yada.
Right.
And he was swarmed on. So it went from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
But he got the chemo that was necessary for the multiple myeloma, and his numbers came from sky high down to next to nothing. That wasn't the full story, though, unfortunately. Because he'd had it for such a long time, was otherwise well, he'd been masking it.
Yeah.
because of COVID, and yes, I'm going to say that, because of COVID, he got sent away from hospital repeatedly when he should have been admitted. He didn't get tests and investigations that he should have had.
Mm.
The disease process had continued to such a point that, unfortunately, my attempt at a diagnosis with very little equipment or resources was correct.
Yeah.
But not for the reason I thought.
Right.
The multiple myeloma, when it's full blown, does various things, but one of them is it chucks off this tiny little protein that forms like, you know that weed you've got in your garden with the little green sticky balls?
Yeah, my dogs like eating those.
Ooh.
I know.
Oh, okay. That's an image. My cat sometimes comes back covered in them. But it chucks off little proteins in. If you imagine they're like that, they love the heart.
Right.
And they stick in there and clog it all up.
Yeah.
And they also love the kidneys. So I was right.
Mm.
He passed because of these little lumps of protein that had built up and had completely wrecked his heart and his kidneys.
Yeah.
The myeloma was effectively gone from his system. That's a very long way of getting to your question, which I will finally now answer.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst he was there is no doubt he was in the right place and he was getting the treatment that he needed for his myeloma.
Yeah.
They drained 12 litres of fluid off him within the first 24 to 48 hours. So no wonder the guy couldn't breathe. He was effectively drowning.
Yeah.
And that's why he was getting chest pains and he was short of breath all the time. But once the myeloma was treated and he was just on sort of like a maintenance level of care, if you like, that was when I saw the attention to detail, the attention to the person.
Yeah.
They were great. They looked after him, don't get me wrong.
Mm.
But short of sending a pastor in, there was no other holistic form of care.
Mm. So are you seeing a team treating the illness, the disease, but not the person?
Yes, precisely that.
Yeah.
Precisely that. And so I started looking around. I just thought, well, I'm not daft.
Mm.
You know, let's have a look on Google, see what's out there. Is there anything I can bring into the hospital, which is going to be tricky in COVID times where you keep getting restrictions on visitors sometimes and not others.
Yeah.
I just thought, let's just look, let's just see. And I'm looking at all these things and I'm thinking, I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is. Oh.
Yeah.
Would that be any good?
How did that feel as somebody who'd been in the medical profession for a long time and worked their way up to a very senior level in the medical profession, to all of a sudden discover a world that you had never had access to, had never been exposed to?
Yeah, it was bizarre. I mean, like many kids, I'd grown up with an interest in my horoscopes and astrology and looked at palmistry. And I was aware of things like homeopathy and that some people use herbs for...
Yeah.
But it was very surface level.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is interesting. There's a whole other world out there that I don't know anything about.
And through all of your training, through the degrees, through the CPD, through everything, nobody'd opened this door?
Nothing.
Mm.
Nothing. Clinical medicine, in my opinion, is very protocolized.
Right.
And that, your patient comes in with a certain set of symptoms and you do various investigations and tests, and that brings up answers, and those answers lead you down certain paths.
Yeah.
And yes, there may be 2 or 3 of those paths depending upon the stage of presentation of the patient or their other comorbidities, for instance, but there are always set paths.
Yeah.
All of this that I was discovering was like, oh, this is new. How come, if that could help, we're not looking at it?
Yeah.
How come we're not bringing any of that in?
Would I be right in thinking that the approach in sort of mainstream clinical medicine is to narrow the lens 100%. Rather than widen it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yes. the word is escaping me, but it really is about minimalistic medicine. It's finding what is the actual symptom, and in often cases, what surgery can we offer it, or what medication can we give it to dampen down that symptom.
Yeah.
It's rarely about identifying the root cause and saying, how can we address that root cause so that person is actually well again? We're not just damping down symptoms. Because in my opinion, that's where polypharmacy comes from, where people are on 10, 20, 30 tablets.
Yeah.
Because each tablet gives symptoms which you then treat with another tablet.
Yeah.
To simplify things. But yeah, I was like, well, I'm not daft. I've got plenty of health experience. This is all new. But how do I know if it's going to work for him?
Yeah.
And how do I know if the people doing it are any good? Where's the standardization? I could spend an absolute fortune, put him through all sorts for absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I was never able to answer that question with him. We lost him during that time.
But it sounds like it's started a journey for you.
Oh, 100%. Big time.
Tell me about the journey.
So, obviously, we lost him, spent some time grieving. And always will. But, you know, the initial stage of grieving where you're not really much use to anybody for anything. And after a while, I thought, there's got to be more to this. I've got to do something about it.
Yeah.
So my initial thought was create a database. Excuse me, I'm part of a networking group in the UK that has a huge percentage of really heart-led, decent people in every business field.
Yeah.
And of those, there's quite a lot that are healers of these various different modalities. And I just thought, let's start with them, because I've met a lot of them.
Yeah.
I've started to receive some healings from some of them at that time point. And it took about a year or so for me to sort of really think about that and start compiling this database of people that I would feel really comfortable offering me healing, people that I love healing, people that I would really trust. It led to me getting myself a qualification in clinical hypnotherapy. The only hypnotherapy I'd ever come across, or hypnotism, I'd ever come across before, was your stage level that's done for entertainment.
Remember that at university?
Yeah.
In the student union.
Okay, there's a story there, I can tell.
There's not much memory of it, and that probably tells you all you need to know. I can remember it happened, and I can remember people bouncing around on stage, doing various unusual things.
Yes.
But that is about the limit of my memory. Not purely because alcohol was involved, but it is quite a long time ago.
Yes. Okay. Multifactorial then.
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe my brain's compartmentalised it as well and stuck it in a faraway place, never to be accessed again.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. And so when I heard that it could actually be used for good, and there was a whole science and people were qualified in hypnotherapy and were offering all sorts of healing, I thought, I can use this with my patients, because, there's never anybody anxious or needle phobic coming into hospital, is there?
No. Apart from the massive queue of anxious, needle phobic people, yeah.
So I just thought, this would be really useful. And there's a couple of the governing bodies around anaesthetics actually have stuff on their websites with hypnotherapy audios on there that have been proven to reduce the length of stay of an intensive care patient.
Wow.
Which, if you're going to tie it back into the money, that will reduce the hospital bill for that individual patient.
Yeah.
And another one of the governing bodies was offering courses, which was where I went and got my intro.
Yeah.
But would the hospital fund me? No.
I was going to say, I think I know the answer to that question.
No, but I saw the benefit in it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So I just thought, well, blow you then. I'm going to go and do this anyway.
Yeah. I can imagine as a clinician, you're keen on looking at data and research. How much research have you found around holistic health, about, wider wellness?
Not as much as I would like. A lot of the backing for it, if you like, is testimonials from patients that have had benefit from it.
Yeah.
Because it is really difficult to do traditional research. How do you get a proper control group? Do you just allow this person to carry on suffering from trauma that's come to you for help?
Yeah.
It doesn't appear ethical. And I know that's a whole different dilemma in terms of standard research. But there's not a lot until you get into small minutiae of things, which is why I've chosen some of the modalities since then that I have, because they do have research to back them up.
Yeah.
And that satisfies the scientist in me, because as you know, I was a scientist before I became a medical doctor.
Yeah.
So I have high standards.
And I think there are a lot of people who sort of philosophically get and want to really understand holistic health and well-being. But because maybe they've got a scientific mind as well, it all seems a little bit wooey. And therefore they struggle to really engage with it. And they probably don't really believe that traditional medicine provides the whole answer. But at the moment, that's the best they've got.
Yes, and that is the way society has indoctrinated us all to think. Just let that one land.
Yeah.
Bit of a mic drop.
I think there might be several episodes in that, in that statement alone.
This is my personal opinion, is that as humans, we are all brought up by societal norms. That comes from education.
Yeah.
That comes from beliefs possibly within our own families, but certainly within all the societal things that we come across. Like every time we go to the doctor, we're young, we're taken there by our parents. There's the same sort of approach. We're told things are a certain way at school. We're all told that we need to get our qualifications and, follow this particular path.
Yeah.
Complementary, holistic, alternative, I use the words interchangeably. Medicine doesn't fit in those nice little boxes, which is why I appreciate a lot of people struggle.
Yeah.
But if you think back a couple of 100 years before there was any hint of medicine as it is nowadays, how did we heal ourselves?
Great question. And actually, when you start tracing that back, I was talking to my daughter. My daughter's studying biology, and she's really started to take an interest in herbs and plants and the biochemical sort of nature of them, and how actually they are almost like humanity's medicine has been pre-designed. And not just humanities, the animal kingdom's medicine has been pre-designed and laid out on the floor in some way, or growing halfway up a tree or whatever. But it's actually designed to be within reach for us. And she started to kind of uncover this world, or explore into this new world of medicines that are actually growing and green, and they're not in pill form, and they don't come out of a packet.
She's on an incredible journey then. She's going to have her mind blown in the best possible way. Yeah. Guaranteed.
Yeah. So the journey sounds to me a bit like a mission now.
100%.
How would you describe the mission? Or how do you feel about it? How do you explain it to others?
So my mission as an award-winning doctor who has an insight into complementary or holistic medicine is to use that skill set to the very best of my ability. Yeah. To combine the very best of clinical medicine with alternative therapies. Yeah. To make sure that all of these modalities are available to every individual instead of the way it seems to be at the moment, which is you have to be on one path or the other.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot of people pitching one against the other. It's not one, it's the other. And it's almost like you have to choose which side of that divide you stand on. But I think you're right. I mean, if you actually step back and looked at both and looked at what they could offer people, you'd say it's not one or the other. It's both used properly.
100%. And that is where exactly I am sitting. And I think I've been given this gift. Everything that I've done in my life, even the slightly more alternative things from many years ago, have led me to the point where I'm prepared to be a rebel in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm prepared to stick my head above the parapet and say, actually, neither of you are wrong.
Yeah.
But let's actually talk to each other. Let's take our focus away from protocols or woo, if you like to call them those. And look at the person.
Yeah.
Look at the individual who is presenting in front of you and say, how can I best help you?
Yeah. And that's such a different approach. Our mutual friend Dino.
Yeah.
And Dino and I have described that in business often people have got a tool. And whatever the problem is, they're determined that their tool will fix it. So there are a lot of people who will walk in and hit a nail on the head with a spanner because they have a spanner. And actually lots of practitioners do the same thing. Whatever it is that they see in front of them, they're going to treat it with their modality rather than understand the person and then figure out which modality or modalities in combination would help them best.
Yeah, you are completely right. And I just thought, I've put myself into this position. Use it.
Yeah.
It would be really selfish of me not to.
Yeah. So I'm really curious that to this point, this is the anniversary of the podcast. So you've had a year's worth.
Yeah.
And I know that there are plenty of episodes because I've dipped into a few of them myself. What have you learned through the course of the podcast? Because you've met some incredible people and interviewed some incredible people. What have you learned about wellness, about healing, about holistic health? What are the sort of light bulb moments or kind of real...
My journey has led me to believe that the human body is meant to heal itself if you give it the right conditions. Today's society doesn't give it the right conditions.
Yeah.
There is so much toxicity in the world around us in so many forms.
Yeah.
Which is keeping us in a state of dis-ease.
Yeah. So you're not just talking about chemical toxicity.
No.
The form that you'd get in a Coca-Cola can, perhaps. Oh, sorry, probably shouldn't mention direct brand name.
Wash
but you know what
out.
I mean. It's not just, we're not just talking about chemical toxicity. You're talking about all sorts of toxicity.
Absolutely, every form of toxicity. You know, the environment around us, the water we drink, the food we eat.
Yeah.
You know, everything.
There's a fair bit of psychological toxicity around as well, isn't there?
Social
toxicity.
A huge amount. A huge amount. There's so much hatred in the world out there. You know, you turn the news on, which I don't, and it's all bad, isn't it? I can remember as a kid that used to end with a little nice story.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
You know, just to kind of lighten the mood, I guess, again, after you've been told about all these awful things happening in the world.
Yeah. Like the story in the local news where the firefighter went up the tree to get the cat ran out and the firefighter got stuck, that kind of thing.
Something that would bring a smile to your face. Yeah, and it's everywhere we go. It invades all of our senses, every single one of them. And it means that our body is in such a state that it's racing hard to try to get us back to the normal level of homeostasis, the normal functioning, against all these insults we're constantly throwing at it. You think back a couple of 100 years ago, and I'm not saying that life then was ideal, far from it. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But we didn't have environmental pollution in the way that we have it today. We ate natural foods that weren't covered in pesticides. We didn't have toxic inputs coming into us constantly through all forms of media. Just for a start. People then tended to be weller. Yes, they may well have died younger, but for various other things. But their lives were purer and weller than what they are today. And we've got really young children now that are really struggling with a lot of health issues, and I include mental health and emotional health in those as well, that we'd never even heard of. They're coming from what we're doing, is my belief. We're coming from the world that we're living in. We are manufacturing these, whether we like it or not.
You kindly sort of took apart the word dis-ease. How do you understand dis-ease/disease?
So obviously my initial understanding of it was as a scientist and as a medic, and that is that something has gone wrong in the way the body's functioning that causes it to create a tumour or not secrete hormones that it's supposed to secrete, or over-secrete them, for instance. In the holistic world, I would view it more as the body not being in balance.
Which is then causing hormones to be secreted or not, or removed or not. You know, it's fighting hard to these toxins coming in from outside. And it's dealing with those instead of keeping itself healthy. Because it has no other choice. And when you've been talking to practitioners about the modalities that they use, what have you learned about how we can help the body to heal from understanding these modalities?
So I've often said, and people who are regular listeners here will have heard me say this before, you know, if I fell now and broke my hip, I want a surgeon and I want one of me. You know, and the theatre team that goes with it to mend my hip. And the same for any other acute situation. I want and need the hospital service. But for recovery afterwards, I don't want anything to do with what is on offer there. I don't want opiates. I don't want a million pills. I want to look towards allowing my body to heal itself. They may well be a very short-term crutch, but I want to know why I fell. Was it just a slip or a trip? Why my bones were in such a state that meant that it fractured? And I want to go right down to the root cause and heal all those things.
So you mentioned a few modalities that you started to learn about in a bit more detail. Tell me about those.
So I say the first one was the clinical hypnotherapy, which doesn't work on everybody, and especially in the acute environment that I'm in, I don't have very long to build that rapport. But I have had some incredible successes that have brought joy to everybody. I then thought, okay, I want to take this out of the clinical setting. So I thought, well, what's my skill set then as an anaesthetist? You know, in relation to the alternative medicine field. And I thought, I know, I stick needles in people. Can I do that outside? Yes, it turns out you can. And there is a huge market for people wanting to have multivitamins, minerals, amino acids, different body salts infused into them, either in the form of an intravenous drip, which clearly is my skill set. Every single patient that comes into my anaesthetic room gets an intravenous drip put in. So I kind of know what I'm doing with that. And also intramuscular injections. So like you typically go and have a vaccine. But these are beneficial nutrients to your body. And the goodness that comes from those, if I explain it as simply as I can, is that if you imagine your body's short, for instance, in vitamin B12, because the biome in your gut is so damaged that it's not working efficiently because you eat processed food. Sorry, not a direct slight on you, just to the people out there in general. It's common.
Yeah.
So you're not absorbing the B12. So no matter how much good quality food you eat that's rammed full of B12, your gut's not going to absorb it.
Yeah.
And so your body's working really hard trying to do that. So if I come in there and give you a shot of B12, your body kind of goes, oh yeah, okay. I'm not going to work quite so hard on that at the moment. I'm going to chunter off and do something else, which is actually going to help me to be healthier overall.
Yeah.
And you're giving it a break. You're giving it the chance to do what it needs to do to heal itself.
I was going to say, so this is about supporting the body to be able to heal itself.
Yeah.
Use
absolutely.
all of those sort of inbuilt mechanisms that we were given at birth.
Yes.
But are probably being hampered by the lifestyle that we're leading and the world that we're living in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. Hit the nail on the head and with a hammer, not a spanner.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So intravenous vitamins, minerals, like you said, an array of other substances that our body really needs, you can provide very directly.
I do, and I provide them from a really clean UK-based source as well. This is where part of the scientist came into me. I didn't just randomly pick any company.
Yeah.
I went with somebody that has an open laboratory in the sense that me as one of their practitioners could go down there and see it. Yeah. And so that's my standard.
Yeah. I was going to say, because you've got to be comfortable, not just that you're enthusiastic about holistic health, but that if you're going to practice it, you need to be able to do it to a standard that you're comfortable with, that you're happy with. Yeah. And the clinical standard, I can imagine, is pretty high.
Absolutely. I mean, this particular company will not allow just anybody to buy their products. You have to do their training course.
Yeah.
And to do their training course, you have to have some sort of level of clinical qualification. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a doctor. You could be a nurse or a dentist or a pharmacist, for instance, or a paramedic. So you have to have that clinical mindset and that level of clinical standards before they will even let you into their training course. Yeah. And then you can go on from that once you've passed that. And it's a high pass mark. It's a 4-hour exam. Yeah, yeah. You know, so that you can use their products. And I want that standards for my patients. My kids and myself all use these products.
Yeah. And as a scientist, of course, you won't want to hope that this does people good. That's not quite enough, is it?
No,
you need to know that this
all.
is going to do people good.
Yeah. So having an inherent understanding of human biology and knowing how these things work has informed my decision. Yeah. And me wanting to make sure that, you know, I am happy to give these things to myself and to my children. Yeah. Yeah. Is a good bar to set, I think.
Absolutely. And now that you've started to kind of widen your view of health and wellness, how do you see that inextricable kind of link between body, mind and spirit, as it's known? Because I was talking to a friend of mine a little while ago about how Descartes and the Cartesian split affected the way that humanity generally sees the body and the mind and the spirit, if it does. And it made a kind of profound difference to the way that science and medicine probably operated from that point onwards. But I'm guessing you've got a very different view now over the last few years about how the various elements of a human being actually do connect and interact.
Completely. I mean, it's a huge topic.
What Dino would call a 2-bottle of wine conversation.
Absolutely, yes. And he wouldn't be wrong. Yeah. To me, the mind and the body are so linked in the process of disease. It's, you know, I mean, how often do you see people that feel sad and depressed do they tend to be the type of people, if they're in an acute phase of that are running around and doing stuff and being active? No, they generally tend to have much slower.
Yeah.
That is a physical illustration, I think, of it.
Yeah.
But it's much deeper. It's at a cellular level. So if you are actually properly clinically depressed, in the sense that there is an alteration in the level of the chemicals in your brain, that's going to make your body do the different things. That's what it looks like deeper down.
Yeah.
At a spiritual level, which is a really interesting thing for me, because I would now describe myself as being a spiritual person. I am still not religious.
Right.
They're completely different things.
Yeah.
I was made to go to Sunday school occasionally as a child, you know, and going in the brownies and the guides, and occasionally going to the church services, and it just didn't float my boat. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. This is a personal opinion.
Yeah.
You know, I don't judge people on whatever they want to do for that. But religion to me is a place you go to, whether that be physically or in your mind, if you're saying some prayers at night, that has some kind of external doctrinal influence.
Yeah.
You see, even if that's a word. Whereas spirituality comes from within.
Right.
Spirituality is, for me, about being the best possible version of myself that I can be, to therefore give out the best possible version of myself and therefore do the most good that I can possibly do.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
And if spiritually, some people might not be knowledgeable enough in that to think about it, that they may still think about it emotionally, which is fine. We're all at different places. If that is in a poor state for whatever reason, your body's not going to be functioning in its optimum state.
Yeah.
Because your energy and your vibration is going to be so low. And we're electrical beings, aren't we? Every single process in our body, if you go right down to the molecular and atomic level, is charged one way or the other. We have negatively and positively charged cells, atoms, components in our bodies that have the reactions. If our frequency is so low that they're basically swimming through treacle and are super sluggish, you're never going to be performing to the best of your ability in any of those modalities. So to me, we separate them to talk about them for ease of explanation. But they are all one.
I years ago, when I was trying to explain how sort of sports psychology works to a friend, I said, the bit that will throw you is you'll read a book and it'll be separated into different chapters with different headings, and you'll start to think that they're separate things, but they never have been. That's just the ease of communication almost. We put them in separate chapters, and we write one about confidence, we write one about motivation, we write one about focus, etc. They were never unconnected. They were always part of a whole that belongs together. And if you understand it on that basis to start with, you're likely to really understand sports psychology. If you read it chapter by chapter and it almost looks like there's a wall between each one, you'll never understand it properly.
I completely agree with that. You've got to be open enough to be able to see that. And that all comes down to how it is presented to you, I think, as well. If you are gaining the information in that sort of way, you know, whether you're reading a book or you're having it as lecture form or anything like that, it's got to be presented in the way of, we have to split it up like that because, you know, it's easier to communicate the components. But hopefully then, one of the things I'm hoping to do is bring education into all of this in the future as well. And my dream would be to have our topic presented at the front of the class, if you like, by multiple different people from different specialties. So that I perhaps would come in and say, oh, you know, so at a cellular level, this is happening. And And then a homeopathist could come in and say, yeah, so when I'm looking at offering a treatment, I will look at the cellular level like this.
Yeah.
And the herbalist will say, yes, and my herbs that I prescribe to people will come in and affect this part. I mean, how much of a dream is that?
Yeah.
So that we've got an actual proper holistic understanding.
Well, you've kind of tiptoed into my last question, actually, which is, where does the journey go from here?
Stratospheric.
Mm-hmm.
I don't dream small.
Cool. I like that.
My mission is huge. Clearly, I'm not the only person going to be involved in it. There will be many, many, many people alongside me on this mission. But I want to use my skills to educate people that looking after your own health and staying well in the first place, preventing disease, is about looking at the world around you.
Yeah.
It's about changing the water that you drink, which is, again, something that I looked into.
Yeah.
And something that I'm passionate about, and a service that I offer.
Yeah.
The provision of clean, healthy water that helps you to fight inflammation that comes in from just living in today's society. I want people to be able to have the knowledge so that they can stay well. They can bring their children up well. I want everybody to know that the blending of all of these things is the way it should be.
Yeah.
And that by picking one over the other, over a specific thing, is not wrong. It may well be that that one is the right one at that time.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's always right, though.
Yeah.
I want our children to be able to be brought up in a world that's more positive. And I don't just mean happy clappy. I mean a world where they can feel joy and feel cherished, where they can actually be who they are, instead of today's society of, oh, be a good girl. Oh, keep quiet.
Yeah.
Boys don't cry. Be strong. Let the individual be who they are. Let their body work at its best frequency so that they can be the best of who they are.
Yeah.
Told you it was a big goal, didn't I?
It's a fantastic goal. Very last thing, you shared your version of the NHS with me a few months ago. Have you shared that on the podcast before?
I don't know, but I'm going to take this opportunity.
Please do.
So one of the taglines that I introduced to this, which relates to my northern roots as well, is that I want to bring Harley Street to your high street.
Yeah.
Holistic style.
Yeah.
I've kind of embellished upon that a little bit more, and I want it to be the blended holistic style, which includes clinical medicine as well.
Yeah.
I want to see more places before we get to that, though, because I fully appreciate I'm not going to get that overnight. I want to see more places, clinical hospitals that we have now, offering more holistic services. Like there's a lot of privately funded orthopaedic hospitals now that offer hyperbaric oxygen chambers, which is officially an alternative modality when it's not being used for deep sea divers that have come up too quick and got the bends, because it's been proven to benefit healing. People heal a lot more quickly.
Yeah.
Surely that's better for everybody.
Yeah.
If the cynic in me says, if I'm looking at society and we want people to get back to work quicker so they can start earning money and pay the taxes, it benefits that system. But it benefits, the way I look at it, is the person so much better.
Yeah.
Because they're not struggling for as long. Their body's not out of sync for so long. There've even been papers recently saying that sound therapy, maybe that's going to be a thing now as well. And people are starting to include that in clinical healing. my mindset goes, no shit, Sherlock. It's been around forever.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I know you've had a sound bath experience.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not have. I suggest getting out there and doing it. They're spotted around all over the country.
Yeah.
Go and find one.
Yeah.
See what sound can do.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I mean, I can see a part of that vision. And I think if we could realise just a tiny fraction of that, everybody would benefit from that. That would be such a gift to society.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed this. I hope everybody listening has too. No doubt they have. And I would just like to close by saying here's to the next year and the many years to follow.
Oh, thank you, Simon.
Thank you very much.
It's been great being on this side. Slightly weird, intimidating at first, but no, I've loved it. Thank you for allowing me to share where I'm at.
My pleasure.